What's up, everybody? Arg the Pirate here, and today we're going to take a look back at Paragon, talk about some key moments, just talk about some things people might have forgot, just hang out, have a conversation about one of the best games I've ever played, and what inspired me to make a YouTube channel over it, you know, why I got into it, just all that good stuff. Just really hang out and watch the final game I will play of Paragon. Now, I actually recorded this game the day before they said, hey, we're shutting Paragon down. And so this is an older game. We're playing at, you know, high plat, somewhere around there. And, you know, this was just a very, very fun game. The last game I'm ever going to play. And, you know, I just thought, hey, Paragon's ending tomorrow. Let's kind of remember what made Paragon so great. So I've had to re-record this video like 15 times because I just keep getting sidetracked. Guys, I truly love this game. It's the only game that ever inspired me to make a YouTube channel, and you know, out of all the games that I've played, guys, I'm a true gamer. You know, I don't watch TV, I don't go to the movies, I don't drink beer, I play video games, and this is what this game, it's had such a huge impact on my life over the past 2 years, and hey, I'd just like to share my story. So I'm going to start off with how I got into Paragon. And how I got into Paragon was I was looking for a new game to play. Before I started Paragon, I was playing Destiny. Destiny was getting kind of stale, and I was just looking for a new game to get into. And I'm looking around, I'm surfing the internet, just looking for a game, and this game pops up. And if you've ever watched the beginning trailer, guys, that game, or if you've ever watched a trailer, you're like, oh wow, I have to play this. This looks like a movie. Like, oh, so good. And I instantly downloaded it. Now, I started playing Paragon shortly after it was released, and I was playing on just an awful PC. It's just terrible PC. And I was kind of, you know, the graphics looked really bad because I had to play on very low settings, but the game was just so fun. You know, sure, it was hour and a half long matches, especially since I didn't know what I was doing, but, you know, hey, it was fun. I was having a lot of fun with it. And I started getting better and better, and then it came out on PlayStation. You know, I think it released on PlayStation like 2-3 months after the full beta came out on PC. I was not an alpha player. I started, you know, shortly after it full beta release, I guess. And I got better and better, and then I started playing on a team, and man, you know, we were playing on this team. I was playing 8 hours a day. You know, I was started out in the mid lane. You know, we got better and better and entered in a few tournaments and all that other good stuff. And it was going great. It went great for a few months, and then our support ended up quitting. They got a new job, and they just couldn't continue to play at that level anymore. So we ended up, you know, putting out some applications for a new support, and we ended up getting a new mid laner. And so, okay, you know, hey, new mid laner, no problem. I'm going to switch to support. So actually, support made after that. And I love support too. You know, I truly will always love mid lane. But, you know, I played more support in my team than mid lane, I believe. And I switched to support shortly before Monolith, and then played a little bit into Monolith as that support role. And then I ended up stepping down. You know, it was just, you know, I got a kid. She started, you know, wanting to do things more instead of just being an actual baby and sleeping all the time. So I couldn't play, you know, 12 hours a day and just, you know, always focused on the game, because the better our team got, the more we wanted to play, of course. And so I decided, hey, let's step down. Some drama happened, all that kind of good stuff. And so, you know, I ended up stepping down from that, and I became a solo player. You know, just, I say I became a filthy casual, but I was a filthy casual that was playing 8 hours a day. So, but I was a solo player, and I went from playing, you know, months and months, or, you know, probably the most part of a year in a full team, to now being on a solo team at that high level, and it was just a completely new experience for me. And You know, there's two different types of players. There's some players that work very, very well in a team with that good team communication. And then there's some players that just have amazing map awareness and, you know, they make those rotations without needing communication at all. And I was always one of those guys. I need that communication. And, you know, but I did fairly well in solo as well. You know, that's when I fell in love with Countess. Oh, Countess is just so much fun. I never played Countess solo or in the solo lane either. You know, I didn't play her too much in Legacy. I picked her up pretty much after Monolith started, and I played her mid lane. And, oh man, she was so much fun. By far my favorite hero. But we'll get into my favorites here in a little bit. But yeah, became that solo player, and after a while, I asked my buddy, I was like, hey man, download this game. It's a ton of fun. It's on PlayStation. You know, you can get it for free, and let's play. He's like, okay, you know, sure. And so I played a couple of matches with him, and at that point, I want to say I was probably still in Diamond, but he was, you know, he's a starting player at 1200. So I ended up making a Smurf account because he was getting slaughtered. So we made a Smurf account and, you know, started playing. You know, I started playing with that, and I realized, like, oh wow. There's a ton of people out there that just don't know how to play the game. You know, they're not going for river buffs. They're not, you know, the jungler's not ganking. You know, just all that kind of good stuff. And that's what created my YouTube. Seeing people struggle through, you know, just simple things that are like, hey, you know, why aren't you doing that? Why are you going in on a fight when they have a full minion wave? You know, seeing things like that, I was like, I can definitely, I've got things that I can teach people. And, you know, share my experiences and help them get better. And that's what created my YouTube, because there really weren't a whole lot of YouTubers out there doing that. You know, there were some, you know, making videos of, you know, deck builds, things like that, but no one was targeted towards low level people. And that's what I wanted to do. So, sure enough, we ended up, I went and bought my Elgato capture card, and that launched Arg the Pirate Gaming. Now, my first video was over FaZe, and that was after FaZe came out. That was when I started. I can't remember what patch that was. Probably like 35 or so, somewhere around there. And, you know, FaZe, oh man, I love FaZe. I mastered FaZe before Wukong came out. FaZe was so much fun. And I absolutely love FaZe. And so that's got to be my first video, because I got to figure out how to make videos. I'm not a computer guy. I play video games. I don't know anything about computers. I got this crazy good computer right now for making videos and compiling and things like that, and I have no idea what the specs are or anything. I know what the keys I hit to move and how to click a mouse, and that's about it. And so, you know, my first video took me 18 hours to make. No joke, guys. 18 hours. Took me 2 days. And I finally figured that out. I probably spent most of that time making my first intro. And then I finally found this website that's like, hey, we'll give you a free intro. Here you go. And it's like, oh, I could have done this from the beginning instead of trying to figure out how to use, like, After Effects. But anyways, so I did that. I came out with that video, and then my next 6 videos were guides over this is what you do in every lane, and these are when buffs spawn in, this is what Raptors do, this is what Prime does, all that good stuff. Because I started YouTube after, you know, Legacy was done with. So I started in the early stages of Monolith, you know, during the 6-card system. And, you know, I loved it. I loved helping people, you know, learn the game a little bit better. And sure, I will never claim to be the best player out there. I would say I'm above average, and you know, I played at a very high level at one point, so I had some good insight on things. And you know, I thought I could share that with everybody since I did step down from that high level. And you know, 3-4 months with only having, you know, with having less than 100 subs, you know, still coming out with videos daily. Since I started YouTube, I've came out with daily videos until recently, you know, going through the move and things with Smite, but that's another story. And you know, I just loved it. And then I started this series where I called it starter deck builds, I believe, where I made another Smurf account. So at this point, I had like 4 or 5 accounts, and I made this one account, and I never opened a single card pack on that account. And I would make these decks with just the universal cards that you get at the beginning. I believe my first one was over Sparrow. It was a requested video, and I made an awesome deck for her and never used a single, you know, purchased card or pack card. They were just the universal ones, and it was a great deck. And I went, man, I really like doing that. That was so much fun. And so I started doing that with every... No, I started making that series, and I really enjoyed that series. That was by far my favorite series that I ever did. And, you know, every time there would be a new change to Monolith, because I want to say they changed the Monolith map about 4 times. So every time there was a change, I'd come out with new updates talking about the changes, you know, running through that bot match again, where I'm pointing out like, hey, this is the gold buff, this is what it does, all that good stuff. And then V42 came out. And V42 came out, I did those deck test videos where I would go in and put on 75 points with, you know, the Knights of Asher. And man, that video started so many arguments. There's probably still people that argue over that one. It's like, dude, I spent an hour and a half in a bot match just farming gold so I could get 75 points and see how much damage that thing does. Did that with, you know, all the Elevate cards. I did that with, well, what's the Intellect card? The Mana Flow Acolyte. I did that with that one. You know, I did it with Font of Experience, you know, where I would just go into a match, sit in the, like, equip Font of Experience, and then I sat there for 20 minutes and just watched how fast that I would go through the levels. And you know, just those type. I love doing those videos. Sure, they took a ton of time. There was a lot of time of me walking around in bot matches, just mindlessly killing things. But you know, that was, I think that was great information that people needed to know, and it really helped you make better decisions. If you're that, you know, more medium level player or moderate level player, you know, you're not quite a new player, but you know, you might not have just you might not be able to play 8 hours a day like I could. You know, having that type of information of, you know, hey, this is Mana Flow Acolyte was actually worth it. You know, you hit level 2 at 4 minutes without getting any farm at all. You know, that's big. And you know, I really enjoy doing those type of videos, those beginner guides, just all of that. It was just so much fun. And yeah, like I said, V42 came out, and that changed how I had to do a lot of things, because there was no more beginner guides, because everybody got random cards, and you know, you might play forever and never get the card that you want. You know, I remember the like 6th Smurf account that I made. I wanted to do a Godmother build video, and I could never do it because I was like level 40 on that account before I ever got Godmother. You know, so like there were just things like that. You know, it was difficult to get certain cards because yeah, it was just pure random. Or what was it? The gym Healing Towers. Oh man, I worked so hard to get Healing Towers, and then they finally made it where everybody could have all of it. They should have done that from the beginning. But anyways, you know, about halfway through that, I started my Discord server as well. And man, whenever I first started that, you know, it took a while, but people started coming in there, and I think it peaked out at like 600-700 people in Discord. And you know, it was, we constantly had like 20-30 people in chat constantly playing. You know, I think at one point I had 8 voice channels, and there was always people in them. You know, oh man, like, we built such an awesome community. You know, the Pirate Crew was just such a fun community to be in, and you know, I really enjoyed that. You know, that's what I set out to do with YouTube, and I would say I was absolutely successful with that. You know, helping people improve their skills. I've had, you know, through all the bad comments of, you know, people yelling at me for doing things wrong and all that kind of good stuff, but for all of that, you know, I can honestly say I feel I truly helped a lot of people, and that's what I wanted to do. And it's such an awesome feeling, and you know, I was just so happy that I was able to do that through Paragon. Now I have to talk about a few of the big things about Paragon that I miss or hate or, you know, whatever, you know, just all the different things in Paragon, all the different variations. You know, we got to take a minute to reflect on all that. And so let's of course go back to Legacy. Y'all remember Harvesters? I hated Harvesters. Oh, I hated Harvesters. They were the worst. You know, I know there's a ton of people out there that really liked it, but man, yeah, that was like if you had somebody that concentrated on Harvesters, you know, that was all they did. That was it. They were the Harvester guy. They just go in, farm the Harvesters all day long, never show up and like or go and like take out the enemy's Harvesters, and it's like, oh man, it was like a game within a game almost. But yeah, Harvesters, it definitely wasn't my thing. But shadow pools were. Oh, y'all remember the shadow pools? You could just go and hide. You could gank somebody by standing right in front of them, or like, you know, as the ADC. I remember one time I was playing Murdoch, and that was when his little traps did damage. They didn't. I don't even think they stopped you. They might have put a slow on you, but they did damage. They did a decent amount of damage. I remember you used to just throw traps everywhere, and you know, people would run through them to get them out of the way. So when they do get into a fight, they don't have to worry about them. And you just stand in a shadow pool, wait for someone to run through like 3 or 4 of your traps, and then boom, shoot them, they're dead. You could do things like that. Or like when Gideon would like do an ult and you'd throw Murdoch's traps under him and he'd fall down and die. You know, just Murdoch's traps were so much fun back in the day. The ledges within a Legacy, the verticality, they had those 2 ledges that overlooked the entire map, and then they had that one ramp on the one side where if you were playing someone that had like a leap, like Greystone, you could like run off the end of it, turn around and jump back on it and juke everybody out, and you know, just stuff like that. The Legacy map looks so good too. Like that was a very, very pretty map. It was huge, but it was so pretty. And the jungle was like a maze, man. When you first picked up Paragon and you went into the jungle, I guarantee you were lost. Like you were running around the jungle for 15 minutes trying to find how to get to a lane. I guarantee you everybody did that at least once. And the jungle, like when you got into a big jungle fight, it was like you're in a hallway because they were so small. And the jungle, my biggest problem with the old jungle was it was below the lanes, so you could gank the jungler in a sense. And like, I think Monolith definitely fixed that, but yeah, being able to gank the jungler, you know, that's probably never a good idea. But you could escape so easy through the jungle too, because the vision on the jungle was just a nightmare. You know, it was tough to see really anything, because, you know, you had the shadow pools, but there was all the overhanging trees, everything like that. You could jump in there, and if you rounded a couple of corners, got into your run mode, you were gone. You know, yeah, you know, and that's bringing up run mode. Run mode was awesome. If y'all don't remember, run mode, so what you would do is when you were out of combat, you could activate run mode, and basically the old movement speed was about the speed that you run if you're in like a gadget ult. Like, you know, 50% movement speed slow. That's about how fast you used to run. And in normal run, or when you went into run mode, you ran about the movement speed that you normally run now. So the game was much, much slower in Legacy. You know, the minions ran like half the speed that they do now, but the map was 3 times the size of current Monolith. So, you know, it took forever for the minions to group up together. I think they spawned in at like a minute or a minute and 15 seconds. And then it took them like 45 seconds to actually get in lane. So, you know, it was so much slower. Y'all remember Kalari's ult? Oh, Kalari's original ult. What she would do is she'd like dash forward with her sword sticking out and just do this like little twirly spin. And if y'all were grouped up, she'd kill everybody. Oh, it did so much damage. They got rid of that pretty quick. Unstoppable Kai was another one where when he first came out, you used to be able to stack his spirit regeneration up to 1 billion. Like, it didn't have a cap. And so you could get into a minion wave, get it up to like 30 or 40, and then go in on the tower and just take down the tower, no problem at all. The Muriel's ult used to, like, if Muriel ulted in on a team fight, y'all were going to die. Like, because she had that huge knock-up, and I think she had a knock-up and a slow, but oh, her ult used to be so strong. Which, you know, I think Muriel has been a very underplayed hero. I think Muriel is actually amazing. I don't think she's ever been bad. It's just, you know, there are some other heroes that are, you know, really good too. The original black buff, you remember that? You could pick that up and, like, one-shot a tower. Or like, Murdoch could snipe the core and take it down 50%. You know? Oh, man. The old Monolith definitely had, or old Legacy definitely had a few little issues, but man, the map was so good. The game was so fun. I never minded the hour-long matches in Legacy. You know, I think the hour-long matches in Legacy were perfectly fine, just the way the game was set up. Hour-long matches in the current Monolith are a nightmare, in my opinion. I don't like playing hour-long matches. But that kind of leads us to the first variation of Monolith. You know, the new map. I think they changed a lot of things that, for the most part, were pretty positive. I know a lot of people, you know, oh man, I miss Legacy and this and that. Nah, don't get me wrong, I miss it too. I wish they wouldn't have gotten rid of the map. I wish we would have just had access to both of them. But, you know, the jungle being on the same level, I think, was nice. And how the jungle is, it wasn't, you know, 3 distinct lanes that, you know, you had to travel up to get to them. It was, you walk out of this jungle area and boom, you're in the lane, instead of, you know, you got to travel up this pathway, and is it better to go up this way or that way, in the shadow pool, you know, you didn't have to worry about all that. It was just, hey, get into the lane. And, you know, some heroes could just straight up jump at you out of the, you know, fog wall, which I want to say early Monolith didn't have the fog walls. Early Monolith still had those jump pads. I don't know why they got rid of those. They made the map smaller and got rid of those. The verticality of old Monolith was still so... I really miss the verticality of the map. You know, they had different levels. And, you know, Legacy had, I would say, 3, and early Monolith had 2, and then now late Monolith really just has the 1. I really wish they wouldn't have got rid of that. You know, I think the verticality was always really good. And, you know, it was always cool seeing, like, an enraged Rampage fly across the map in mid lane. You know, like, that was always awesome to see. And, yeah, you know, they got rid of that. There were occasional bugs where, you know, it'd throw you into a wall and you'd just be stuck and have to wait to die. But, you know, I think it was okay. You know, Monolith made it a lot easier to move around the map, too. Just, you could get from one side of the map to the other in seconds, when in Legacy it took you a minute. You know, it took forever to get from one side to the other, and now, you know, it was relatively quick, and especially now in late Monolith, you know, it's insane fast to get from one end to the other. You know, I think that was a big change. The 2v1 lane, you know, in Legacy, you know, the laning phase, you know, you could have double jungle or things like that. Now, I guess you could run that in Monolith as well, but we really went to the 2v1 lane, and, you know, I think it was a cool change. I don't think it worked out the way Epic wanted it to work out, but I think it was a pretty decent change. You know, it was cool, you know, facing, you know, being Greystone facing off against, you know, a Murdoch Steel combo, and you felt awesome when you were doing it. You know, I've always thought that was really enjoyable, one way or another. And, you know, when they went to the 1v1 lane, that really changed some things. But, you know, before we get into all that, I think one of the biggest changes with, you know, game speed and everything like that was the size of the towers. You know, in Legacy, tower diving, you know, until you got to late game and you had 9,000 health, because that was a thing, before you got to that point, you know, in Legacy, you didn't really go into towers, because towers would straight up eat you. They like, you'd get two-shot by towers. And if you ever went into the tower and your minion wave disappeared and you had to run for, you know, you'd take 5 tower hits just getting out of the tower. And now, you know, tower diving, in Monolith, tower diving became just not a thing at all. You know, who cares about tower diving? Just go for it. And I think that that definitely affected the game and just how to play the game. You know, there were towers were not safe anymore, which I guess they've never been safe, but just the distance you had in the old towers. If you were at your tower and the enemy was at the edge of your tower, you were safe because they'd take 4 tower shots getting to you. So, you know, that was a pretty big change. They also started, when Monolith came out, they started releasing these new style of heroes. You know, we had Aurora. Man, it's been so long. Was Aurora the first one? But, you know, we had Yin, Aurora. We had these hybrid heroes that started coming out. I want to say Seraph came out in Legacy. You know, I'm not looking any of this information up, guys, so I could be wrong about a lot of it. I'm just going off the top of my head. But, you know, this is my memory, so, you know, I think that's okay. But, yeah, you know, the changes with the new style of gods, you know, even you know, later when Wukong and FaZe came out, and Wraith and Zinx, you know, there were these gods or these heroes that were like, what are these? You know, it's nothing like we've ever experienced before, and a lot of the times it took a long time to get used to it. And, you know, like someone like Aurora, there was one card that shut her down, and that was really all you could do against Aurora. She was so strong. Morgesh, when Morgesh came out, Morgesh was really broken when she came out, though. She was so strong. Like, her ult could kill you, one-shot you at full health. Her hive would burn you down to, like, a sliver of health. Morgesh she was definitely one of my favorite heroes, but when she first came out, she was so broken. Y'all remember the old gold buff too? Like the one that no one picked up? Or even the Raptors? Those two things that, you know, there's these side objectives that no one ever picked up because they were not really worth it. Because when gold buff was worth it, it would almost kill you. And late game, it wasn't worth it because, you know, it took you away from your farm or took you away from the team fights. So, yeah, or, you know, you could one-shot it, but at that point, you didn't really need any more gold. Now, this video is getting close to wrapping up, so that means I gotta speed it up. I could talk for days about what I love about Paragon, but I'm gonna do my top 3 moments. Now, my first top moment is, I believe it was Xenos was playing Greystone, and Dark Knight, you had Red Zone on, and we killed him under his core as a 5-stack, and your Red Zone killed our entire team, and I think we ended up losing a match because of it. Yeah, that's a top moment, because that was just an awesome play. You know, it was terrible for us, but, like, that was just hilarious. I'll probably never forget that one, because I don't know how many times I told you not to use Red Zone, but you did anyways. And then my other 2 are, of course, the pentakills I got on the pirate crew while we're playing private matches. Yeah, bring it, guys. Pentakills for days. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I'm still heartbroken about Paragon going away, but I really love all the memories that I have with all of y'all, and I truly loved this game, and I hope we see a Paragon 2.0 someday. Well, thanks for watching, and if you did enjoy, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, add me in Discord, tell me what game y'all want to play, and I'd love to play with y'all, and as always, guys, I'll see y'all in the next video.